Hey y'all, Jamie here, back with another episode of Milk, Honey, and Mayhem. A couple of y'all have reached out to me about today's topic, and I'll admit, when I saw it gone, I was just as heartbroken as any other Giles Countyan. But we all know that to restore Windsor Village back into anything habitable would have been near impossible. That's the thing about history, though. As long as we keep talking about it, it stays alive. So let's take a quick trip back in time to the late 1930s. It was a time when America's highways were bustling with motion. Soldiers were coming home, families were just discovering the wonder of the road trip, and for the first time, women were traveling on their own. These women were teachers, nurses, secretaries, widows, saleswomen, and they were often met with raised eyebrows when they stopped to rest. Motels, diners, and roadside rest stops weren't always safe. Smart businessmen, well, they took note of this, and motor lodges began popping up from hither to yon. David William Blow, born and raised right here in Pulaski, was one of those smart businessmen, but he was also just a good person. He grew up attending the First Methodist Church and was a member of the choir there for over 40 years, and eventually became a member of the chairman of the board. When he lost his parents, he donated the pipe organ still used to this day there in their honor. He was also the president of the board for the Austin Hewitt Home for Aged Women and a member of the Chamber of Commerce, the Hillcrest Country Club, and the Junior Order of United American Mechanics. He also served as an officer for the State Motel Association. Before he accomplished any of that, though, he was a founding partner of Blow and Kaufman Oil Distributors. It was 1937 when William Blow and his wife built Windsor Village Motel smack dab in the heart of Pulaski proper, where the crossroads intersect. This used to be a key crossroad for travelers, with Highway 64 running east to west and Highway 31 heading north to south. Travelers going to Memphis, Knoxville, Huntsville, or Nashville stopped here. This wasn't your average motor lodge. It was designed like a small English village. It was clean, quiet, and safe. It offered peace of mind, and was the sort of place your mama and them would approve of. And it was convenient. The Windsor Village Motel was also the official Greyhound bus stop for Giles County. And it wasn't just women who chose to stay here. It's also where the popular musicians of the day chose to rest their heads between shows. Both Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis were known to have spent more than a few nights here and dined at the long-since-gone Wood Steakhouse that used to sit across the street before heading down to perform at the 31 Blue Spot in Ardmore. Now, this part here isn't related to Windsor Village, but I want to take a second to mention it. Around this same time, the Chitlin Circuit was in full swing. This was a collection of bars and nightclubs where black singers, bands, and comedians performed to packed houses. The Apollo in New York City was one. The Royal Peacock in Atlanta was another. But most of these clubs were in small rural towns, like this one. B.B. King and James Brown were just a few of the notable names that were known to play at the 64 Club on Highway 64 between here and Fayetteville. William Blow passed away in 1960. Mrs. Blow ran the motel on her own for a few years, but the restructuring of the interstates and highways in the 60s, along with the rise of the good old Motel 6, well, wasn't long before she had to close it down. But the town loved that old building. No one more than Garfield Carville. He purchased the property in 1975 and launched Carville Realty Company. During the 80s, he allowed several businesses to take up residence there. Evelyn's Coiffures was owned by Evelyn Campbell, and my Aunt Dixie did hair there for a while. That's where I got my first earrings and my first perm. It was the 80s, y'all. I know I ain't the only one who walked out of there looking like a poodle with some big old pink plastic glasses and walked right next door for a well-deserved confection. The Chocolate Drop was owned by Bobby Fana Laxon and Mary Helen Bailey, and they handmade the most delicious small batch chocolates that sent Godiva right on back to the mall where she belonged. And I also vaguely remember a florist being there, but not the name, so I couldn't find any information about that. If y'all know, share that information with all of us down in the comments, please. Now, by the mid 90s, those businesses were gone, and Garfield rented the units out as apartments. I lived in this one right here as a very young adult. Sadly, I have no pictures of my time there, but the building was already well on its way to looking like this. And when you get to that point, well, this sight isn't long to follow. Today, Windsor Village is gone, but the memories remind us of a time when the road was open, the possibilities were endless, and life was carefree. What are y'all's favorite memories of Windsor Village? Let's reminisce about them together down there in those comments. I hope y'all enjoyed that little blast into the past. Next time, we're going to be digging into the history of the Bodenham Mill. That one is really interesting. Oh, and y'all remember those tunnels that run under the city? I managed to get access to the basement of one of the buildings where they connect. I will absolutely be bringing y'all along for that, so make sure you're subscribed and you tap that little bell down there and make sure it says all so that you'll get notified, because you really don't want to miss that one. And I also have merch for sale. These wooden stickers right here, etched with the Milk, Honey, and Mayhem logo. They're only $5 per sticker. Pick one of these links, send me a $5, and email me your address to milkhoneyandmayhem@gmail.com. All lowercase, all one word, and all those links will be down in the description. And if you want to buy your girl a coffee to help keep burning the midnight oil of research, I would sure appreciate it. You can hit up those same links for that. Until next time, y'all be good.